Man the Guns is dead. It's a new DLC that will be integrated into the main version of Hearts of Iron 4 in the next expansion for Hearts of Iron 4. So in the past, the HOI4 team are looking to integrate old DLCs and merge them with the base game. And the simplest explanation for this is that way that if they make new content, it doesn't overlap the old content. So it's not like they can sell you 2 DLCs for the Japan, for instance, because it feels a bit strange. You get a generic focus tree Japan, then you'd buy the DLC for Japan, and then there'd be a second DLC to improve the focus tree even more, which I can imagine as a consumer feels really icky because it's like, oh, okay, there's 2 iterations, well, 3 iterations of the Japan focus tree, or maybe even 4 if you were to roll back the old version. Generic focus tree, unpatched rework, DLC with patch rework, and then the final iteration with the new expansion coming out. So I get it in a way, it makes sense why this new version would be integrated. How is that going to be integrated as a part of the game at the moment? He's not sure. In the past, they were offering these DLCs for free if you got them within a certain time. In this instance, Man the Guns is still payable. So I guess don't buy this. It's going to be free in October, November, December. Speculation. So they are teasing the idea there is going to be an announcement in the next few days. After releasing Gotterdammerung and Graveyard of Empires, we committed to doing these in future, which are dev corners. And it's a great way of getting feedback in. So the reason why they're not calling them dev diaries is this is less of a finalized display of what the finished product's going to be. Dev corners are brief looks of future features that could at any point be adjusted, tweaked, or changed, or even removed completely, depending on the final release. They're listening to our feedback more closely and hearing things that the community may not necessarily enjoy or like. Therefore, they may change the final version. Who knows? Maybe they watch my videos. Hi. And maybe they make changes based on what I say. Man, I speak some garbage. I hope they don't. Without further ado, that is the dev corner. That's it. Those 2 paragraphs. The rest of this are kind of teasers of what they've changed in future and are cropped screenshots, not fully revealing what changes they've actually made. I know, I'm speculation on top of speculating here, so let's go through some of these and see if we can take a guess. But in summary, Man the Guns will become obsolete when the new expansion comes out. They're going to announce this next DLC and probably the release date in the next coming, did it say days? Few days. Maybe this week. Who knows? And I presume dev diaries are coming to an end. They didn't say that, but I'm guessing. All right, here we go. There could be several things going on here. All right. So, we have a new clique. I've added a new warlord in between Beijing and the rest of China. Oh, there's a few things going on here. Wow, okay. So Beijing's the capital. This is red. It looks like the Soviet Union or maybe communist China. We have the Japanese Empire, not Japan. And we have Manchukuo. This is a new clique, a new warlord. And then we have another China down here, but it's a blue China. Is this hinting a different ideology of China? And plus it has this little city, I forget the name of it, but it's the one that the Germans controlled prior to World War I. But a funny suspicion, this might be a buffer warlord that's created in the event of some kind of agreement between China and Japan based on a different ideology of Japan. That's kind of where I'm going with this. It does appear that this state here is larger than usual because it doesn't usually touch Beijing immediately. My memory could be a little bit faulty there, but this looks a little bit larger than I seem to remember. There's a few map changes here that look like they've happened. The naval icons look slightly different too. Are you getting this too? There's like a little, there's the anchor icon on the down arrow represents the naval base, but then there's also like a little thing here. Can't quite make out what it is though. It looks like the player is playing as this blue China though, because you can see the repair icons for the Navy and the 6th Horse Division. To me, this looks like this is some kind of buffer state created between the China and Japan of a different alt history scenario. All right, next one. Many content designers died to bring us this information. Can we zoom in on this? Yes, we can. What do we got here? So this is 2 ladies pointing at a Spanish flag. They appear to be different races. One is apparently a little bit yellow colored, and this one is a little bit more bronzy colored. This video has been demonetized now. Could this imply that they're adjusting the Spanish focus tree? Seems kind of strange, isn't it? That this is a Pacific focus expansion. We've got Philippines, Japan, China, and the warlords, and communist China. So why would Spain be any part of this? Maybe there's some kind of way of somehow connecting the Philippines and Spain again, because prior to America taking it over, it was a Spanish colony, so maybe there's some resurgence of that, maybe an expansion to the focus tree. I suppose it could also mean that there's a new way to get involved in the Spanish Civil War, maybe something involving China or Japan. Not that I'm historically aware on that one, so comment below. As many content creators died. Does this imply that there's another faction in the Spanish Civil War that you can create? Someone that's maybe aligned with Japan? Most likely it would be Japan. Who else could it be? Next one, we have the Japanese Empire. They have stated below that this is no longer a puppet state, and they have confirmed there will not be a Korea focus tree. Actually, they've not actually said there's not going to be a Korea focus tree, but it kind of implies that. Why would a nation be fully occupied but not have a starter option or a starting tag? It wouldn't make a lot of sense. Why would they make the national focus for not to use it, if that makes sense? This is a really good decision. This is feedback I gave on a previous Dev Corner. I don't like this obsession with every single nation that is somehow some very minor level of autonomy has to be released an independent nation to have a generic focus tree. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. I feel like Graveyard Empires with the Near East. I feel like went a little bit too much. Is anyone who was excited to play Palestine or Syria or Jordan? Anyone? To play with the generic focus tree? Anyone? No. Usually the reason why they do this is there's normally AI confusion over these independent states, and the AI has a really hard time drawing front lines. So in the past, the reason why Egypt isn't independent, even though it had some higher level of autonomy compared to the rest of Africa, is that it caused a lot of confusion with the AI. It was a problem from like 4, 5, 6 years ago, though, so I don't even know why that would still be an issue now. However, that was the reason why it was originally like that. And maybe this is a resurgence of that. Maybe they were having AI issues, so they had to gut it. There may be a possibility that Korea could be made independent via a focus tree. It's a bit cliche, I hate to say this, but the communist path for every nation always has them some kind of decolonial path baked within it. What do we usually have? We have communism, division, organization, recovery, higher amount. We have decolonize as communism. We have a side with the Soviet Union, communist path, and then there'll be the communist path of we've got our own flavor of communism. We should replay this video when the DLC comes out and see if it hits all the cliches. And there's nothing wrong with those paths. It's just, once again, I'm all about flavor, and it'd be kind of cool if the communist path just did something a little bit unorthodox and unusual. Maybe there'd be some kind of absolute autocratic totalitarian communism that's about creating these stupid colonies that exploit their neighbors or something like that. You know what I mean? Just something really on top of its head. Different flavor of it completely, you know? Just probably see that this part in history in the 1930s was an era of decolonization. The first sparks of decolonization was... That's probably the reason why a lot of the communist paths do end up decolonizing. So, maybe, at some point, Japan can be released. Next up, we have the next one. Strengthen our position with a horse icon. And the comment is, horse. What could this mean? I'm leaning towards Mongolia, but more so, Manchukuo. Is this the finally it? After many years, are we going to get our Manchukuo focus tree? And is it going to be some kind of rebirth of Mongolianism / Genghis Khan resurgence? Is this what this is going to be? Pray for Mongolia. It could also be the Central Asian state of China, one of the warlords. It was like the horse gods. They're meant to be like these Muslim horse warlord, and they had the genius cavalry leader. So maybe that central warlord is going to get some new swanky changes. They didn't mention earlier that they're not going to completely rework the warlord focus tree. It's just going to be tweaked. So maybe this is one of the tweaks, or maybe this is Manchukuo. Who knows? And finally, we have this one, a highly sought after portrait. Highly sought after. Ooh. What country leader could this be? And this guy, he's squinting with his eye. I've talked about race quite a lot on this DevDar, so let's do it again. He looks a little bit Chinese or Japanese. This video is definitely demonetized. There's not a lot to work with here. I don't recognize this guy. Probably if you're from China or Japan, maybe you do. Could be a Japanese leader refresh. Could be the Shandong clique mentioned earlier. Or the Shangzi leadership, maybe. Sorry to be a downer for the people who make UI and make portraits, but it's really hard for me to get excited for leaders unless it's a leader that obviously is universally known or accepted or recognizable. So to summarize, the Shandong clique has been added. Whether it's a buffer state or it's there at the beginning, it's unknown. Korea has been integrated into Japan. Possibility of Mongolia or Xinjiang focus tree or Manchukuo focus tree. And new leaders and portraits. And also some kind of Spanish teaser. That one's the most unknown one, though. The Spanish one is the most big question mark. There's a little part of me, you know, when there's a rework to a certain area of the world, such as the Pacific, and then there's something else that's some kind of ahistorical thing that could happen on the side of the world that makes me a little think, I need to know the history behind this to feel fully engaged with it. I feel like Paradox could do a really good job with their marketing if they were to, I don't know, do a little 10-second, 20-second teaser exploring this little minute ahistorical thing that could have happened. Like, I don't know, some Spanish leading Japanese politician, for instance. Something along those lines to kind of feel more immersed in that experience. Because if you were to tell me this is a real historical event that could happen, and it's not just some wacky thing like elephants in India, maybe I'd connect more with it. I don't know, it's just something I feel like. One thought that just popped into my head is that it could be the nationalists and the Democrats fighting in China. This could be democratic China, but it just says it's called China. Maybe they've renamed it in this screenshot just to put us off the scent. So the lead developer here is making a little summary on the bottom of this dev corner. Explain the rationale why they're including the DLCs as part of the base game. So we'll be adding and testing new miles to certain countries because there are quite a few nations that are missing them. I'm fully on board with Paradox integrating DLC, by the way. The reason why that's really great is that every time Paradox releases a new expansion, they have to test all the old versions of different DLC combinations, and it must be a massive waste of developer time. I'd hate to be the guy at Paradox has to go through all those old versions and test them out. Much respect. And every time they remove a DLC and integrate it with the base game, that's one less to test. Try and understand from a perspective, if we love content, we love development Hearts of Iron 4, it's more beneficial that we give an easier life for Paradox. But if I see something in this DLC that I don't like, I'm going to be very loud about it. New content, scary, but much love for beta testers. All right, so this guy here is United Chinese Front. There's an airport in China. I remember I have to build these in Manchukuo. Nice Great Wall. Oh, they've added the Great Wall. I did actually see that on the map, and I thought it was a railroad. Oh, that's kind of cute. That's cute. They've added a building. I like that they've added wonders to the map, but they make so unbelievable little impact. I'm like, it's hard for me to feel engagement. I mean, from a flavor perspective, they're great, but it's just a little bit of eye candy on the map, I suppose. If this somehow would be integrated with the focus tree in some way, shape, and form, like maybe if you build one of them as a part of national focus or improve on one of them, yeah, that would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? The idea that, oh man, that's a really good idea. So late game, you have an issue with too much stability, war support, and political power. Maybe there's a way you could invest into these monuments to improve them by spending those currencies. I mean, it's wacky, it's all history, but it feels like this mechanic now has an actual feature that integrates with the game, and it's not just this thing on a map that gives this tiny bonus. Once again, I'm just spitballing here. So it looks like we have Great Wall of China now. Very great. Very wall. Much China. So this guy here has drawn a map. Please just let me fix the Vietnamese border. Oh, right. Okay. Right. Okay. This guy is a Vietnamese lover and enjoyer. Who isn't, right? Come on. And he's specifically saying, please fix the borders of Vietnam. Fair enough. This guy just straight up says it. Is this a Spanish rework? How strange would that be, though? A Pacific rework and then just rework Spain as well. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's such a curveball. I'd be for it. This is probably very disappointing, this, isn't it? Like, we're speculating on this as if it's something big like a Spanish rework focus tree. But in lateral fact, it's probably something unbelievably small. We're setting the bar so high here, guys. Careful now. Careful now. This guy's written a long list of all of his wants for a Spanish rework focus tree. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. If it is a Spanish rework focus tree, it's probably so late in development right now, they're probably not even able to change anything. Oh, here we go. The game director has spoken. Did you update the Steam page? Yes. You're going to be removing the DLC I paid for. How much am I going to be compensated? Not losing anything. The DLC is being added to the base game and all users not removed from the game completely. However, it is now free. There is a workaround with this. There is a workaround with this. If Paradox were to give one of the old cosmetic packs for free if you'd already pre-purchased Man the Guns, that would be a nice incentive to say, okay, you did buy the DLC, thank you for doing that, so here's the, I don't know, one of the cosmetic packs maybe. I suppose if you guys were loud enough and screamed loud enough saying that I bought this DLC and I'm basically having it integrated to the base game, so technically I pay for something that's going to be free, I guess maybe they would do something about that. But regardless, I suggest you integrate Man the Guns, but also suggest integrating Poland, United and Ready. That was the free pre-order bonus for pre-ordering Hoi 4 in 2018, hang on a second, 2016, 2018. When did Hoi 4 come out? All right, I'm blowing my mind now. Okay, this has gone for too long. I hope you enjoy this Dev Diary. Comment below, like the video, subscribe, and YouTube will present more of this kind of content. Obviously, speculation in the comments below. Please give me your most far-out speculation. Give me a little suggestion. Like, I don't know. I think they will be adding more warlords to China. And then more a far-out there suggestion, like, I know they're going to rework the Soviet Union to interact with China. I don't know. Give me 2 suggestions below. Apart from that, boys, peace.